Hey y'all, it's me, Spectre. Once again, I have come to show you all just how completely sane I am. Aren't I so generous? You see, NIKKE is one of those games that you try your absolute hardest to hide from your friends. I should have taken my own advice. I had been following this game since I first started seeing the advertising, but I had never actually had any interest in playing the game.
Hey, there's a line here. I have a legendary NIKKE, Emma.
If I wanted to see big boobs on vapid character designs that are too over the top to even be sexy, I'd play Azure Lane. But Spectre, I hear you thinking, you've said you've been playing this game for an entire year. What changed? Shh. Don't ask questions. There's actually a lot I want to get to when it comes to NIKKE as a gacha game. So I want to just clear the air before we start digging deep at all. This video won't exactly be detailing anything about the gameplay and such, simply because there isn't too much to talk about, and it's not the focus of this video. If you want a one-sentence review, it's simple. Really fun to watch, but not anything of note. This video will be a very short look into something a little deeper than the gameplay. While certain gacha games, like the one that shall not be named, thrive on getting players hooked on sunk cost fallacies and Stockholm syndrome, NIKKE seems to have this almost otherworldly, kinda hypnotizing effect on the people who play it that makes them seem to genuinely love the shit. If social media is to be believed, you'd think NIKKE was just a generic gooner bait gacha game, which, to be completely transparent, it most certainly is. Holy shit, it is. To like the 10,000th degree, it is that. It is definitely that. And honestly, the community doesn't help with that stereotype. I personally subscribe to the idea that you can extrapolate certain qualities about a person based off of the things that they like, even if it's just they have a surprising variety of taste. And this is how I like to look at media and its communities, not just by themselves, but intertwined in a way. They don't exactly tell full stories of each other, but enough to see them rub off on one another. And one thing I can say about NIKKE fans is that they must really like boobs a lot, and that has to be the only thing I can say, and there's definitely zero artistic value in the world or characters that they could have possibly stayed for. Anyway, enough of the padding. Here I'd like to pose a question or two if you'd allow me. Just what is in NIKKE that the fans love so much that they will sit and do a full reaction video of someone criticizing the character designs and defend them? At what point does mere sexualization of characters become gooner? You know, besides the obvious things. And does sexualization make a work of fiction inherently bad, or worse, or less of art? Those are the questions I'd like for you to think about over the course of this video, and I do really mean think about it. You see, my videos are made with the idea behind open discussion in mind. At any point, if I make a statement that you disagree with, have something to add, or have a question in regards to said statement, along with a timestamp, I want you to comment your question or query or thing you want to say. I made this video to bring up an interesting topic I thought could use a bit of brushing up on. Or at the very least, I could use some brushing up on. You'll see what I mean. Oh shit, we're rolling? Oh, okay. Alright, so what we working with? You see, the world of NIKKE is actually a lot like our own, except it's a little more technologically advanced. The entirety of humanity lives underground in a gigantic city called the Ark, because of course it's called that, to hide from the alien invaders on the surface. One day, a biomechanical alien race known as the Raptures saw all the movies we made about evil aliens and went, man, bet, and began murdering everyone. I guess you could say they raptured everyone. In order to combat the raptures, the central government invented the NIKKEs, armed and dangerous war machines made of pure bullshitium, designed to fight back against the alien menaces and take back the surface. Allow me to introduce you all to the NIKKE! Wait, what the fuck? These are just humans? This setup is hardly unique, but let's be real, it's not what we're here to focus on. The NIKKEs themselves are. Much like every other gacha game, NIKKE keeps up with the well-loved trope of having the entire cast of characters be complete psychopaths. Each NIKKE? Okay, hold. In the script, I wrote NIKKE. Each NIKKE is sorted into a squad, which, now that I think about it, I don't know how they get picked for them, but the point is that this is the core of how their character archetypes are developed. I'd like to introduce the general way to see NIKKE characterization. In this world, most characters can be broken up into parts that are basically their building blocks. These are squad purpose, squad dynamic, and personal traits. I think the best way to illustrate my point is with squads like Seraphim and Exotic. You see, every squad has their specific purpose. Seraphim works with the medical industry and consists of Dr. Mary and Nurse Pepper. Mary is the typical doctor-type character. She cracks jokes, is very teasy, calm, collected, and in some cases, mainly with the main character, don't worry, we'll get to him soon, she's slightly flirty, and likes to keep a strict air of professionalism. Pepper, however, is a lot more cheerful on the surface. Taken from the wiki, Pepper is a sweet and joyful nurse, whose demeanor and drive to care for her patients have made her an idol at the medical center. Though she's aware that not every operation is a guaranteed success, she is confident that as long as there's at least 1% chance of things working out, that's enough for her. And if we use this formula, we can see what makes these characters tick. They were most likely designed to be doctors before their personalities were written, and if that's the case, that means their job as doctors were a big influence in how they were written, which is hardly unique. This is how most character writing and design is done when it comes to gachas. Because of this, I believe they were most likely written in a way to parallel each other. Mary has a very mellow and muted way of expressing herself and likes to keep an air of shallow professionalism, while Pepper likes to present herself with a grandiose feeling of optimism. You can see this when comparing their in-game expressions, animations, and manner of speaking. They both hate to see people hurt, and that's the glue that holds this squad together. Which, now that I say all of that out loud, kinda explains Pepper's desire to publicly execute terrorists. Yeah, like I said, none of these women are stable in any sense of the word. You're a psychopath. Commander. It worked. I successfully summoned the commander.
You're not drunk, are you?
Drunk?
Tronny, are you okay?
I'm great. Peachy. I'm booper happy. I'm drinking the quink egg gave me.
Egg?
Now let's go with a more in-depth example, something a little deeper. For you see, dear viewer, the arc can be divided into two main masses. The arc, which is the arc, being all the interconnected near-future metropolitan architecture, and the outer rim, which is, okay, so if the arc is like New York and Tokyo, the outer rim would be Birmingham and Detroit. And they basically have the same relationship to each other as Piltover and Zahn from Arcane. A major company, put a pin in that, likes to keep tabs on the outer rim for the sake of doing business, put a pin in that. That's where Exotic comes in. They're basically the Suicide Squad of this universe. Or are they more like the Creature Commandos? They consist of Jackal, Viper, and their leader, Crow. Exotic is especially unique in the fact that instead of having a team of psychopaths, they have one psychopath, a sociopath, and Jackal is just Jackal. She doesn't really count. Their dynamic is actually pretty endearing. Jackal is the token dumb, idiot, stupid, dumb idiot dumb, stupid dumb, idiot character. And Crow often has to set her back on track to keep up with the conversation at hand, creating this kind of funny relationship where Crow has to ask as some sort of stepmom type character. However, Viper is a bit of a tease, phrasing, and enjoys humoring Jackal and her antics. But at the same time would also like it if Jackal would please shut the fuck up while we're trying to discuss how the fuck we're gonna pay our bills. When Crow and Jackal do butt heads, Viper tries to mitigate the conflict and infighting from them. She isn't nearly as trigger-happy as the other two and prefers to deal with her issues with her words. To my surprise, all of these details can actually be found in their character designs. Crow is a lot more rough-looking, having darkened eyes, the torn-up leggings, the low-key, kind of funny skull tattoo. Hell, even the shading and coloring works to sell the gruff, outcast Outlander character who's just misunderstood, and if she was just given a chance, maybe, just maybe, she would turn out like, I don't know, rappy. Oh no, we're not polyamorous. My husband just really likes cheating on me. Viper herself actually looks very plain, and that's the brilliance of her design. She prides herself on her ability to take advantage of her outward appearance, so she takes great care of herself. She's silver-tongued, sneaky, and is great at digging her hands in other people's business. And it's a lot easier when you have the ability to hand-wave your own red flags. Jackal looks like a weird mix of both her teammates. The bright pinks combined with the deep grays and blacks. It's used to sell the idea of Jackal being essentially a golden retriever human. She's just happy to be around her friends and wants to do whatever they're doing and wants all the praise and attention and love. This type of squad-wide character design and motifs are actually seen in most of the other characters and their squads, and it's something I actually admire about this game. It even extends to the naming of the characters. Exotic are all named after wild animals, but specifically animals that are historically associated with death, deceit, or being untamed or untamable. However, Seraphim are named after herbs and spices, something that is commonly used in the medical field, and it's basically where it got its basis. I want to do a video about NIKKE naming conventions and character design motifs, but we've already spent way too much on this, so let's just move on, yeah? Now that we have all those building blocks set up in frame of reference for the general level of quality that NIKKE handles, the way its characters look and are characterized, I think it's time to pose one of the main questions I asked at the beginning of this vid. At what point does sexualization of characters become gooner? Now, why do we sexualize our fictional characters? It seems like a simple question on the surface, no? Because we like it? Because it's fun, because it's hot and makes me jork my— okay, whoever wrote that, bad, see me after class. In simple terms, these two answers are for the most part correct. But then that begs the question, why do we in the modern day care so much about it? And what I mean by the modern day, I just mean like, why was there such a big spike in the conversation surrounding the sexualization of characters is what I mean. Admittedly, I do find the stigma around this conversation a bit troubling, and in many ways, many ways, just really sad. It often does devolve into pointless gender war drivel of the "if you find this fictional character attractive, you're a misogynist!" No! Woke lefties are trying to take away our anime boobs! Variety that us normal people have been subjected to for far too long. So for the time being, let's just drown out all of that and focus on what sexualization is in its rawest form. A tool. In the literary sense, I mean. Cambridge Dictionary describes it as the act of sexualizing someone or something. Sexualizing being to see someone or something in sexual terms, or to make someone or something sexually exciting? Exciting. I mean, geez, I'm having a day. With this definition, we can see when and why it's used in media, where it just tends to be, well, just media in general. From movies to short stories, you can find it in any book if you look. Why it's used is usually to allure, almost always male, potential audiences. Think of those gamer magazines of yesteryear, where they tried to get away with showing as much skin as possible whenever a hot woman was one of the main characters. Please put a pin in this. It will come up later. It can also be used for the sake of why the hell not? And when it's used in this way, it tends to go against all kind of causal logic. I mean, I fully understand why Hestia looks like this in Danmachi, and fuck, I fully endorse it as well. But the issue is that, well, Hestia is older than Zeus, and Zeus looks like an old man. It just doesn't make sense. However, what about beyond that? The enjoyment factor, I mean. In a romance, it can be used to symbolize the deep connection between the leads. In an over-the-top rom-com anime, it can be used to up the goof factor. And in most cases, it's just to show off the material's maturity or lightheartedness, which, of course, has its caveats. Mainly when it's used badly, like I said previously with the Hestia example. To illustrate what I mean, let's loop back to NIKKE, and more specifically, Shift Up, and how they write these characters. Okay, so let's look at how some of these characters are written. But Spectre, I hear you thinking, didn't we literally just talk about that not even ago? Well, yes, I explained how they were put together. They're building blocks of sorts. Writing is more about the execution of ideas they've propped up. A lot of the time, the characters are what I'd like to call, for the sake of discussion, waifus. Don't worry, I'll give you time to find a bag to vomit in. I'm making this distinction because the way that characters are made and waifus are made, or at the very least their philosophy in creation, is different. Waifus are expressly designed to exclusively be a pretty face first and a character second. This often leaves their actual character a bit flat. Not because sexualization naturally turns completely normal concepts into sad, crusty cardboard cutouts. It's because developers know that sexualization is a selling point for a lot of the general gaming public, and more specifically, great for marketing to gacha fans. A fairly new character dropped as I was writing this script that perfectly represents what I mean. Breddy. Breddy is the new NIKKE on the block, who bubbled up hella fanfare thanks to her design. This is what I'm talking about, chat. What did Comethazine say that one time? Big thighs, big tits, big ass. That's what. You think she'd give me a chance? Can you guess the character? The one character I actually wanted to pull for and didn't get?
There's no way. Say you swear to God. Put that on Allah. Put that on Allah. Say wallahi, bro. Say wallahi.
Despite the fanfare, her actual character is just so plain. Like her name. Bready. Like white bread. Get it? Cause white bread is plain? Cause the first story she's in is fine, I guess, but she doesn't stand out, except, surprise, she's secretly a freak! We only discover this, by the way, because she just so happens to be the type of weirdo who occasionally enjoys tasting people, and says that the commander, the main character, has the flavor she's been looking for her whole life. Assumedly, she means for as long as she's been off the assembly line. Put a pin in that. This is Bae. She's the captain and only other member of the, used to be, most popular cheerleading squad called Rewind. Her most notable trait, according to the NIKKE wiki, is she suffers from scopophobia or the fear of being looked at. You can see why that'd be a problem. In her Bond story, it gets to a point where she can't even look other people in the eyes for 5 goddamn seconds. And the reason is kinda understandable, but it's just a convenient excuse for y'all to go on a totally not date. Soda, yeah, I got no jokes for this. She's got like a shit ton of screen time from a few events, but all I can really tell you about her is that she's clumsy and super unlucky, and she has had canonical sex with the main character. Okay. So what's happening here? What am I trying to show y'all? Let me ask you, if these characters are so mediocre, why are they so beloved by the fan base? You see, NIKKE is one of those games where every character is someone's favorite. Even the NIKKE that are straight up not important. But I think this is where we see waifuification at its finest, working its magic. Most of the time, the characters have some baseline personality traits like the ones that I described earlier, and then given a silly, goofy quirk that is usually just something for the game to play for laughs. Not to say that they can never take it seriously, but I'm mostly describing the bulk of them. And it don't take much brain power to realize the logical through line in all of these characters. It's fetishes! I mean, come on, let's be serious. Freema's for people who think eye bags are hot, Bready is for chubby chasers, and Mast is for me. She's for me.
Sex!
Me.
Sex!
She's
Sex!
for me.
Sex!
Hey, I never said I was above any of this, dog. One might call me part of the problem. Even in the somewhat plot-relevant characters that exist. This is what makes the bulk of these characters waifus. They are designed to appeal and only appeal. And as my past self said so eloquently,
each character scientifically engineered to make as much money as possible.
Now, of course, that in of itself isn't bad, and not every character has to be 5 layers deep to be enjoyable. Again, that's the difference between concept and execution. However, a sizable chunk of these characters are just about their appearance and archetype, and that leaves for very poor reading and gameplay experience. Now, this is where I want to clarify that I don't believe sexualization is the problem, nor do I believe that's what most people have a problem with. It's why I previously said I don't like where this conversation always goes. Most of the time when people say sexualization, that's not what they mean. What they really mean is objectification, with sexualization being the medium of how it's done. It takes characters and twists them into vessels that are bound to be someone's waifu pick, and make them want to spend money. This is the crux of what makes sexualization such a problem. Not only are the sexualized aspects of the character design nearly completely disconnected from the characterization, but the sexualized aspects slowly become the only noticeable aspects until it's all just objectification. I had no way to organically put this into my script, but this is to be expected from the game developers shipped up. Which, if you don't know them, they're the same people who made last year's Stellar Blade, which also had similar character writing problems. Sure, you could say that's all because the characters are androids, it doesn't matter what they wear, but then, by that logic, they wouldn't have outfits at all and just be lumps of steel. It's because they know damn well it's marketable, and it's easy as shit to do. Why bother with the brain straining of making fully realized characters every time you want to boost your revenue, when you can just slop some scantily clad pirate girl onto your audience's plate and make the same amount of profit? It upholds the idea that producing mediocre fan service is better for money making than making an actually interesting character. And I've started to get the memo that most people can tell when that's happening, and I believe that's why people tend to steer clear of NIKKE specifically. And hey, that's fine. I like Shift Up. They make hot characters. What the fuck that gotta do with good writing? I want to reiterate that simply enjoying heavily sexualized media doesn't make you a weirdo or wrong for doing so, nor do I think these things shouldn't exist. After all, fiction is where we explore the unrealistic and, to a certain degree, the tantalizing. I mean, just look at comic books. For every woman with curves and really bad costume design, there is a guy with a 50-pack and shoulders the size of Mount Fuji. It's fiction. It's bound to be unrealistic in a lot of aspects. It's actually kind of funny. It's why I low-key respect Shift Up for just not beating around the bush and giving the community what they want directly. Side note, the way gacha games are going in the modern day is honestly funny as fuck to me. They are playing the most intense game of Gooner Gacha Game Chicken, and I promise, the only winner will be us. Anyway, we can finally answer the question. At what point does mere sexualization of characters become Gooner? I believe the answer is that being a Gooner design is just as much about sexualization as it is about objectification. Eve from Stellar Blade and Asuka from Senran Kagura are great examples. The designs have little to do with their characters, and it's only done that way to appeal to an audience who would obviously want to see that. Which would be fine in Senran Kagura's case. I mean, it kind of meshes with the tone. If the characters weren't teenagers. When it comes to NIKKE, it's done in abundance, and it apparently has an in-universe reason. The NIKKEs are designed in the image of what humans fantasize to be peak physical form, meaning yes, they are designed this way literally because the people designing them are in-universe gooners. Meaning NIKKE don't get to choose their body? Okay, that's kind of weird. Wait a minute, if they're designed with perfection in mind, that raises a lot of questions on who designed the schematics of Rei. Or I guess Adme too. Or actually just all of School Circle, really. I mean, they are robots, they can't get older, so they're just stuck like this. Let's not dwell on that, otherwise I'm gonna pop a blood vessel. Yeah, I didn't think I needed to bring this up, but I think I probably should. NIKKE is an anime game, so it's gonna have a lot of its lesser fortunate aspects. I'm so tired, dude. I'm so tired. I just don't understand. Nope. No. We're saving it for the Blue Archive video, okay? We're gonna just push it off to the side, okay? We're just gonna leave it alone. This still all begs the question of why on God's green earth we even care about any of this. I mean, liking lewd themes, artwork, or anything of that sort doesn't make you a bad person, nor do I think sexualization makes something automatically worse. If it exists, that game appeals to you. Go have fun. But I think where we start to lose the plot is when we try to pretend like there's some kind of attack on or shortage of what I'm just gonna call gooner stuff. Like, look at this tweet I saw a while ago while writing this script. Like,
make a chubby girl, but also make her cute. Everyone loves it. It's literally been that simple, but for years, Western devs added ugly boars and expected the same reaction.
like, okay, yeah, what the fuck you want, dog? Like, yeah, she looks cute. It kinda helps that she's a fucking anime character, you dumbass nigga. And this weird opinion from Asmongold. Okay, that's all of them. That doesn't narrow it down. To say that every game targeted towards men has to have goonable characters as some sort of mandatory trait, or that if it doesn't, it's some deliberate ploy to attack straight men and they're trying to change the direction of the audience, or whatever the fuck he said, is simply put ridiculous. There's no way that has ever made sense to anybody.
Now look at South at Midnight Steam numbers. Let me see, I pulled this up. So it's got only like 400, 300 people playing it. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I feel like there's not going to be that many people that buy this kind of a game, right? Like, that's it. And so this is the issue I think a lot of these studios have, is that they think that they can take a genre that appeals traditionally to men and then shift it to a female protagonist or like a female setting and then expect to maintain their audience. You can't do that. That's just not how it works, right? It's like if you're adding in a character into a video game and like it's an action combat game, if it's a female character, she better have huge tits. And if she doesn't, you're doing something wrong. Like, I'm sorry, because the people that play those games are gooners and guys, and that's what they want to see. You don't give it to them, well, that's fine. They don't give you their money. And this is the problem, is like, as soon as studios realize this and they start like listening to players rather than like assuming that, you know, players don't know what they want or like some bullshit, then we'll actually see big changes happen and we'll see things improve. But it's going to take a while, right?
Though that's more of a representation of the fact that Asmongold doesn't actually like video games, he likes interactive escapism, which honestly I could go on for hours about, but that's not what this video is about. So let's just move on, okay? So then why do people push back so much on sexualization? It's most likely a very nuanced and in-depth answer that will probably take another full month of. It's because it makes people uncomfortable! Yes, sometimes it really ain't all that deep. Some people just don't want it constantly shoved in their face, 'tis all. Could this perhaps be another point in time where it's more about preference and taste rather than some kind of dumbass culture war? That's not to say that there aren't some very pearl clutchy type of people that kind of ruin the fun for everyone else. I tend to just ignore those people anyway, so that's what I suggest you do. Look, sexualization is obviously the biggest selling point, but it usually is never why anyone keeps up with gotchas. Usually, there are some outliers. Definitely not enough to have a cult following, so maybe it's something else. Oh, Commander, you poor man. The main plot follows the story of Counters, the elite battle squad that was formed directly per the permission of the Deputy Chief Anderson. Which is hilarious because it seems like they mostly spend their time taking odd jobs and begging for money rather than actually taking orders from Anderson. And even when they do, it doesn't last very long. Or go very well. This glorious team of individuals consists of Rappy, the calm and collected right-hand woman to Protag, basically the mom of the group. Anise is the funny one, sassy, quippy, eats a lot. My dream girl. Wait, if she's a robot, how does she gain? And finally Neon, the dumb one. Yeah, that's about it. Anise and Neon play super well off each other. Like, look at this interaction between them and this psychopath. This is them after she suggested that we leave them behind because they're too weak.
If someone has to go, we should start with those lowest on the totem pole.
How come?
That's how things work up on the surface. Survival of the fittest. Sorry to break it to you, but if there's anyone we could stand to lose, it's you two.
Us?
Yes, you two are weaker than me. There's no denying that.
How come?
Are you even listening to me?
Us? How come?
Me? How come?
Hey, stop copying us! Yeah, Stop copying us.
I don't know what to tell you, dog. This writing is hilarious. I actually really enjoy Counters as a group. They have great chemistry, and it gets a lot better if you do what I do and imagine it as the Commander and Rappy being in a slightly misfortunate marriage, like in the they really love each other, but you know, the Commander got way into the rhythm one night and the condom couldn't handle it, you know, but now they're just trying to do their best, trying to get their 2 daughters to behave and not cause too much trouble. Anyway, back on track. I was actually pleasantly surprised at NIKKE's story. Just the first couple of minutes had me shocked at how engaged I was with its characters. For the most part, the conflict feels believable, which, to be fair, isn't that hard for post-apocalypse alien invasion plots. The motivations are so obvious and everything is practically spoon-fed to you. All is fine, all is fine. All fine, all fine. Apparently, this scene where, spoilers in case you wanted to play the game yourself, Marion dies was supposed to be super emotional.
Thank you. I wasn't ready for that.
Bandage!
But for me, it felt more like shock value. I mean, it worked, but still. Not like it matters because, again, spoiler alert, she comes back not even 10 chapters later. Side note, how in fuck's name is she supposed to be Marion? Because when the characters see her, they all seem to have this fucking Isaacian revelation saying that she just looks so much like Marion, guys. They say it so much that I felt like they were gaslighting me. I've been putting off talking about it, so let's clearly tackle him because it's important to continue what I want to say. The Commander. Like I said before, oh, that poor man. I like to imagine he's the only straight man in a world full of funny men. He's constantly being dragged into everything, he's always the butt of the joke, and is consistently finding new ways. All of the NIKKEs are just fucking idiots. Like, bro, blink twice if you're in danger, my guy. He's mostly a blank slate with some basic heroism stuff going on in his brain. All usual gotcha protag stuff.
Wowee, traveler! That dragon sure was scary! Check out this weird thing that fell off of it!
Oh, cool. Anyway, I'm gonna go grind artifacts.
Aren't you gonna purify it?
What?
Yeah, purify it! That ability you definitely have and use all the time!
What? Why would I do that?
Because you wanna help the fallen, that's why!
Why would I want to?
Listen here, you little shit. You are a hero. You want to do hero shit and save everyone.
We want the people who use you as a self-insert to feel good about themselves so they can start pulling out papers! We have to get attention to you doing it!
Okay, I'm being a bit mean here. The Commander is a genuinely fun character who has this knack for just playing along with, well, whatever the hell the NIKKEs are doing that week. He pretty much commits to any and all bits, and it tends to create some of the funniest shit I've read in a while. Though, like I said, this is usually just to get them to have some kinda pseudo-date thing. We still gotta sell our parasocialism to the waifu collectors, of course. You see this? You see this sliver of affection? This sliver of manufactured affection? Don't you want the affection, huh, waifu collector? Don't you want the affection? Don't you want the affection? Most of our understanding of him comes from how the NIKKEs treat him and talk about him. And believe me when I say, they really do talk about him. Hell, they even have different nicknames for this guy. And what does he do to elicit such an intense reaction from these women? Well, in the world of NIKKE, I think I've hinted enough at the fact that they aren't exactly treated like human beings. To the people of the Ark, they aren't just weapons, but objects, either to be ogled at or used as fodder. Most of them only seek comfort in each other. The commander seems to be the exception to all this because he treats them with basic human respect and understanding. Yes, really. It's literally the generic harem anime thing where the protag is just the nicest guy ever. Good God, the bar is in hell. Now let me be real for a sec if you'll allow me. Despite what I said at first, I do like a good portion of these characters. The plainness of the stories I was referring to is mostly just the event stories and not the main plot. Because the main plot is low-key gas, I can't lie. It helps that I was able to view the old events because unlike a certain game that shall not be named, they keep it on a backlog. It's definitely a game where you're playing for the characters and not the plot, but they certainly didn't sleep on it just because it ain't important for a gacha game. All of that lack of character depth is mostly reserved for the in-betweeners, you know, your anchors and exies. Characters that, while do contribute to the world building and timeline of this story, don't leave that big of an impression. On me, at least. However, when it comes to the main cast, the characters involved in the main plot, they are bestowed with the holy ability to have character depth. I'll admit, I'm having a bit of trouble explaining the highs of this game without spoiling the plot, so if you'll allow me, I'd like to break that rule to really illustrate what made me want to make this video. Good. Trust you won't regret it. I've lied to you. Okay, well, I always lie, but I mean at the beginning when I said that the government builds the NIKKEs. That was only half the truth. They only build NIKKEs for themselves to directly give orders to. The other companies have basically next to nothing to do with the central government apart from a few conference meetings and the purchasing of NIKKEs. Meaning, NIKKEs are not government property, but rather corporate property, with government regulations, of course. Miscellaneous Industries creates NIKKEs that focus more on science and engineering. They're the ones who build and fix the appliances, as well as are usually sold to the government when they just have the better tech or firepower for the job. Tetraline actually came about to fill a hole in the market. In these trying times of war, who wouldn't want to escape into some casino or bar or whatever to spend their coin and just let the troubles of the outside world just melt away? And this goes doubly so for any commanders who have actually witnessed the horrors that lay beyond the protection of the Ark. So Tetraline decided to begin the monopolization of the entertainment NIKKEs, designed to, well, keep people entertained, I suppose. Don't let all of this fool you, though. NIKKEs are not respected, or at the very least not respected like you and me. When it comes to the public, it's more like how we respect celebrities. When it comes to the government, they are respected as tools, and by the CEOs of the companies, they are products. Always. Now, I said they have government regulations, but I never clarified what that actually means. NIKKEs are brains in jars. The brains of women, because whatever the procedure is to put a human brain in a mechanical body only works on women's brains. Because what kind of game did you think this was? They are literally stripped of agency because they sign away their literal human rights. They are considered company property, is what I'm trying to say. They are then fitted into a body that isn't of their design and it isn't theirs, and their memories are wiped clean from their mind through the use of nanobots that are bound to their synapses. This is where we get to the government regulation aspect of what I spoke of. The collection of nanobots in their brains are called the Nymph, and it's basically the NIKKE's core programming. It's designed to put mental blocks on them. It physically stops them from being able to hurt any human, and it forces them to follow through with any orders given to them by their superiors, which, as you can imagine, gets abused all too often. They are essentially caged in their own minds, and if they're ever caught not following the rules that they can't control with the Nymph, they have their memories wiped and are led to believe that they have never existed prior. They lose any and all semblance of ownership of themselves. And this is the story of Uni and Mihara. Now, ignore their outfits. I promise this goes somewhere.
God, why do I do this to myself?
The story starts with a character named Suyuen, the CEO of Missilis. She wanted a few personal bodyguards who could also carry out missions for the sake of the company without the knowledge of the government, so they could conduct research on the raptures. Thus, Wardress was created, and she broke into the commander's house and basically shot him and threatened him into helping them because she knew damn well she could. I just want to make sure we're on the same page of just how insane this all is. This is like if Elon Musk came to your house with 2 of his kids and said, "Help my kids infiltrate the Russian government or I'll fucking kill you, don't test me." And so, like the good little wage slave you are, you agree. This is our first actual interaction with these two. You know, when they aren't trying to help their boss, kill us, I mean.
She ordered us to capture a specific rapture. Is that even possible?
Uni and I were made for this. Why do you keep asking questions? Don't you know that men don't like women who are nosy?
Well, we have to know where we're going, don't we? Not that great. I was shot after all.
No big deal, though. I don't mind a little pain.
What's up with that?
Hey, what are you doing?
Our commander likes bandaging up others. It's kind of a thing.
I'm sorry, but please don't touch me. I said don't touch my wound.
Mihara has a thing for scars. She doesn't like others touching them. You can't be serious.
No, I mean it. I appreciate the gesture, Commander.
Their dynamic is very,
Come and get it, then. Let me turn off your pain sensor.
What are they doing? She's pinching her. Mihara, does it hurt? Well?
It hurts so bad.
Wait a minute, I'm confused. Master, what's wrong with them?
You certainly seem to have a good grasp of it.
odd. Look, I'm no kink shamer, but come on, get a room, y'all, please. Please. I don't think I need to explain what kind of relationship they have, and when they aren't getting freaky with each other, they run a bar together. Clearly, they're just really good besties. Despite their dynamic, it's obvious that Uni is the more dependent and clingy one. This definitely won't come up later. They're very protective of each other, but they don't mind bringing other people into their, activities and their interest. For the sake of keeping this short, let's not beat around the bush. The government catches us in the act, so punishment is carried out on both Rappy and Mihara.
Hello, I'm Mihara. You're my new teammate, Uni, right?
Yep, this is Uni.
Aren't you a little cutie? We're a team now, so we should try and get along. Tell me, Uni, what do you like?
What about you, Mihara? What do you like?
Well, I'm fresh out of the factory, so I may need to look into that a bit.
Uni knows it all. Everything that you like. What kind of people you like, what food you love, your hobbies, where you like to go. Uni knows all of it.
Huh.
All you have to do is trust Uni. Uni will turn you into Mihara. Promise.
Okay, sounds fun.
I'm going to take this opportunity to make myself someone who commands respect.
Oh yeah? How about we make ourselves grizzled old war vets then?
Oh, good idea. Well, rookie, what are you waiting for? Haven't you got any respect for your senior officers?
Clean my glasses for me, will you?
Commander, my memory wasn't erased.
We don't see them for a good while after this, until Suyuen comes to yell at us for not clocking out on break. They don't really say much to us until the end, where Uni just grabs Rappy's arm, and then this happens.
What's going on between Suyuen and Matisse? What's got her undies in such a twist?
Rappy.
Uni.
Rappy, you didn't lose your memory. Mihara went through the same memory wipe that you did. You remember everything. But Mihara doesn't remember anything. You must be happy that you remember everything. Mihara doesn't remember. You must be happy that you can still get along with Anise and Neon. I'm like a stranger to Mihara now. You must be happy that you're alive. Mihara is dead.
Uni.
I should get going as well. See you later.
No. It hurts.
Uni and Mihara only had each other. Hell, all of the NIKKE do. They only have each other. Definitely not their commanders. They're the ones causing the abuse that they go through. Not the government, because they definitely don't give a shit. You're not human. You're a weapon. And damn sure not the public, because at the drop of a hat they turned on the most popular squad that not even hours ago they considered the symbol of heroism, because they managed to take their proverbial leash off. Because what is essentially this universe's version of Q said that NIKKE's without the nymph might start killing humans just because. She really does cling to the idea that Mihara can be brought back. And it's honestly some of the most painful shit to see. I'll admit, when I saw this for the first time, I was kinda shocked. Try to see this from my point of view. I have read a lot of stories, and for the express purpose of this video, I have played a lot of gachas. And I'm very used to where the start is kind of promising, only to become brain-leakingly bad by the midway point of the first arc. It didn't help that I was not at all attached to Mary when we had to bust a cap in her, probably because she wouldn't stop waving that damn flag in my face. So when I got to this point, I saw a sudden shift in the mindset of this story. What the fuck was happening here? I thought. Okay, to be fair, I laughed my ass off, but then it slowly started to hit me what was happening. And Jesus, what Rappy says after this interaction, just heartbreaking. Everyone in that room, except maybe the MC, at the time, knew exactly what Uni was going through. This is just what it means to be a NIKKE.
Consider it a small consolation to those Nikkes with no feelings, no memories, and no control over their own lives.
And sometimes they don't even have each other. Nikke is the story of isolation, a story of trauma, a story of being treated like an object, a story about finding slivers of humanity in an otherwise bleak life. And it just makes me wonder about how many women chose to become a Nikke because they felt like they had no other choice. They were down on their luck, so why not take a shortcut? Let me tell you another story. There once were two doctors. Both cared a lot about the patients under their care. One cared so much that she couldn't even bear the idea of any of them dying. So much so that she began falsifying records so that they could sell the brains to manufacturers and turn them into Nikkes. Upon learning the truth, the second doctor pushed the other one down the stairs, and she died. Which, of course, she got better. For her crimes, she suffered the fate that she put others through without their consent, and would be forced to remember everything that she had done to get to this point. Out of guilt for murdering another person, the second doctor ended her own life. And the central government thought, we can't lose medical talent like this. So they just turned her into a Nikke. Where are those two now, you might ask? Well, these days they go by the name Dr. Mary and Nurse Pepper. They've known each other much longer than even we can imagine they've known each other, and only one of them remembers that. Nikke is a story about humanity. But hey, fuck that noise. It's time to roll the gotcha. Newsflash. Yeah, Nikke kind of does that thing where it explores the dark and harsh realities of society and has commentary about the objectification of women, but then just does it anyway to its characters. It's a little bit of tonal whiplash, to say the least, and that really sums up my feelings about Nikke just conceptually. It's all very good on paper, but it's its own presentation that makes me confused at how I'm supposed to take it. Not to say that I should never take it seriously at any point, because all of the, the goon baiting, I guess that's what we call it, but rather because for some reason, someone thought, I don't know who, but someone thought that it was a good idea to have Marion in her, lowest emotional point when she's, completely distraught, learning that she has to leave all of her friends to keep everybody safe, and then they decide to have her entire body move like jello. It's just confusing.
I'll wear my underwear underneath my clothes. I won't play with the flower. I won't look into a gun or fight recklessly. I'll do whatever you tell me. Just please don't leave me.
In fact, you see this a lot, and it's always with the weirdest scenes. Nihilister is supposed to be this intimidating dragon machine dragon thing, and I don't know, I just can't take her seriously. She's not intimidating or dominating in any situation. Hell, neither is Liberalio. She's supposed to be this, ethereal jellyfish sort of, eldritch horror type thing, and she's just kinda underwhelming. Hell, this is the scene where Rappy asked the commander one of the most important questions in the entire series, basically creating the series' main mission statement of why this story is even being told. And this is how they frame it. Okay, editing specter here. While I was laying in bed, something actually kind of dawned on me about the presentation of this scene. You see, in art, nudity can symbolize vulnerability. And if you apply that logic to this scene, you could see how maybe it was supposed to be framed as, since this is the first time that Rappy has ever been, well, canonically speaking, in timeline order, this is the first time Rappy has ever really been vulnerable with another person that wasn't Red Hood, and thus, you know, the upskirt shot. I think what solidifies this point is the fact that literally directly after this scene is over with, we meet one of the most prolific and important Nikke phobes in the entire series, and they are literally only beaten out by someone who genuinely wants all of the Nikke dead. But, you know, knowing Shift Up, I doubt it. I genuinely believe that they were just worried that the audience might get bored, so they decided just to throw some ass in their face. Like jingling keys in front of a baby. And honestly, that's not even talking about the actual plot. The Rapture Invasion arc is one of the worst arcs I've ever read through in a video game. It's constantly bogged down by some of the most inane logic I've ever seen in a video game. The only exception to this is, old Tales. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I wanted to get all of that out of the way so that you know I'm being absolutely genuine when I say that I do love the Commander as a protagonist, but he does have some issues. His genuine devotion to Nikke liberation is actually just like some of the most fun stuff to watch, and it's mainly other people's reactions to it. Even the Nikkes themselves are genuinely so confused as to why a human is so preoccupied with the rights of Nikke, because this isn't really an experience that they get in the arc. Which of course, upon first reading, I was like, okay, big whoop. That isn't exactly the most unique or interesting character trait, right? But it's really the symbolism that carries this for me. Let's take the first chapter, for instance. The bandage that he gives to Marion. It symbolizes his care, devotion, and respect for anything that he himself considers human, regardless of life situation or lifestyle. He gave Marion the bandage even though it wouldn't help as much as he would like to think it did. And then the execution gun. The reason the gun had to be turned on Marion was because this was the narrative showing the Commander exactly what he would have to go through to achieve his goal of liberating Nikkes, of liberating humanity. This entire chapter was essentially saying, you have your morals, now we're going to test your devotion to them. And it was Marion saying thank you for the bandage that proved to him that everything that he wanted to do in this entire story would be worth it. He truly wants to live in a world where Nikkes are not products or commodities, but rather people who just live in this situation. And it is this dilemma between product and person, what you're told to be and what you know you can be. That theme rings throughout this entire series, and the Commander is really only part of that. It's partially why this game is so pandery and slice of lifey. It's because from the perspective of the Commander, this is what the Nikke should be doing anyway. For him, no matter how childish it is in the perspective of the rest of the arc, this is what he believes to be peace and prosperity. Though let's be a little real with ourselves, it's mostly so they can sell more skins, but that doesn't really take away from what it means thematically. It's not some all-inspiring feat in writing, but it's doing triple doubles against its competition. Okay, I think I've made my point by now. But I'd like to mention a few things before I move on to the discussion about the community. I just want to say that I accept any and all criticism of any aspect of any statement that I may have made, or any statement that I have not said included. If you have any thoughts and opinions you'd like to share, I would like you to please leave it in the comments below. Okay? Okay. For those who have played Nikke and was wondering why I kept everything so contained to the first couple of chapters, it's because I didn't want to get into too heavy spoiler territory, even though I did bring up Marion, but that one was a little necessary to illustrate what point I was trying to make. That being said, I am a 100% advocate that you should definitely give this game a try. It's fun and it definitely respects your time. If I were to grade the game by itself, I'd give it a 7. Though I should warn you, like I said before, it is an anime game, and it's going to have a lot of its lesser liked aspects. From the weird, strange comedy like the Uni and Mihara event that included Senti, where the whole joke was that Uni and Mihara were trying to drug this woman. It also does some of this character that looks like a middle schooler is secretly 100+ years old, which I don't think I need to explain why that's weird in the anime butt jiggle game. But if you need clarification, even the company knows that. The company that made it knows that. When it came time to create the censored designs for the Chinese audience, guess which part they covered up? There's no arguing it, okay? There is none. It's fucking weird. It's weird. Nope. We're saving it for the Blue Archive video, okay? Just gonna cap it off right there. Okay.
I think I'm perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. It's just perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. It's just perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I think I'm perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. You was perfect. Perfect, perfect.
Okay. Holy shit, where do I even start? Let's get all the easy shit out the way real quick, okay? These motherfuckers is gooners. Every single one. Gooners, gooners, gooners. I've already made my point on why I believe NIKKE has artistic value, but holy fuck, you would never see that from the community alone. Not because there isn't anything to talk about, as I've already shown you, but it's more like they're distracted by other things. You keep some awfully strange company, greenhorn. I use the NIKKE community unofficial Discord, Twitter, and TikTok to conduct all of my research on the NIKKE community. I even got to question a few of them on the aspects of NIKKE they could aid in my knowledge on. First off, I want to say, like NIKKE itself, the community is mostly an anime community, meaning it's also going to be bound by anime community trappings, which, to be fair, I completely expected to show up here. Most of the NIKKE community, for what I've gathered, likes to keep any sort of the political speak out of its circles. Ultimately, the fans just want to have fun above all else, and want nothing to do with any of the actual seriousness of the real world when they play or talk about the game. You know, in their anti-government military political thriller thingy. You know, that game. That being said, when I have seen political speak in the general chats, it's usually of the "this is so strawman like I can't tell if this is satire or not." It tends to reek of that woke liberal college student gets owned by facts and logic type thing, you know? Not to say that there aren't accepting people in the community. Hell, those are like the only people I interact with in this server. It's gonna be another one of those things where you just gotta curate who you keep close, okay? What I'm getting at here is that you're a lot less likely to find an extremist or someone who's overwhelmingly in either direction. The art community for this game is fucking amazing. Even beyond the sexy stuff, there's a constant flow of genuinely beautiful artwork. Please keep it up, NIKKE fan artists. Y'all are doing the Lord's work, I promise you. I really do mean it when I say it's literally never bad and always enjoyable. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I have never heard of art community controversy around any of the NIKKE characters not being drawn with the correct skin tone. I don't know, chat. I don't know, chat. I don't know. I think it's because of that intriguing, genuine love for every character that I don't normally see in other communities. It's honestly incredibly endearing. Speaking of which, how are all of the 7 Eula fans watching this video? Huh? Hope y'all are doing good. One fan of an irrelevant character to another, she'll get some love one day. Even though Chi-Chi still doesn't have a story quest. Okay, no, I'm sorry. Promised I wouldn't talk about it anymore. I'm gonna keep it a $1.50. Stay on Twitter for the actually decent comedy. NIKKE fan comedy is, and it has a lot to do with the fact that NIKKE is a game in the style of a 2D visual novel. So making visual comedy is a lot easier, granted assuming you have Photoshop, which by now, you should. It's a pirate's life for me. So they get to create these odd still images of just the weirdest shit, dog. It hasn't reached shitpost comedy level just yet, but that's just a matter of time, let's be real. Oh yeah, NIKKE fans, gotta ask, what's with all of the rappy cucking memes? Like seriously, what? Like I swear I see a new one every month. It's insane, dog. Like genuinely, what is the obsession? I promise, I'm just curious. What is the obsession? It's honestly just depressing to see. And oh, okay, that's it. Wow, I blew through that way quicker than I thought I would. Okay, so then I guess we can finally give the final rating. The NIKKE community is mostly full of really chill people, but I have to tearfully admit that they aren't exactly as funny as the game that they commune around. NIKKE has genuinely been able to get, I keep saying genuinely, Jesus. NIKKE has been able to get a real laugh out of me, but majority of the time I can only get snickers or like those weird nose exhales from most of the community memes that I see. Overall, I'd have to give the NIKKE community a 6 out of 10. A great community overall, but simply not as proactive as I would have expected or even liked to have seen. Wow, I've been doing this for 5 years and I still don't know how to end these videos off. Thank you for tuning in to this video. I worked way too hard on it. I hope you learned something new after watching this video. I don't like saying byes because byes are permanent. See ya. Have a great night.